And he called. I just flown home. I had interviewed Earl Graves, publisher of Black Enterprise magazine. My wife said, "Your phone has been going off the hook. This guy keeps calling you every hour and blah blah blah." I told him that you're not here and blah blah blah. Please call him. And I couldn't reach him, but I did. I left a message. That was W. Clement Stone calling me. How he got my number, I will never know. Which you want to reach somebody, you'll reach them. You'll do
You will
whatever
find a
necessary.
way.
You will
Yeah.
find a way.
Yeah.
And so he called me up, and I returned the call, and I said, "This is Dennis Kimbro, blah blah blah, this, that, and everything." And then we finally hooked up the next morning, and he said, "Young man, I would like to meet you. I want you to come to Chicago and blah 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 and everything." And I guess it was like a test because he didn't give me money for hotel. He didn't give me money for for airfare. So I told him, I said, "Well, how long are you going to take you to raise the money?" I said, "I'll be there in 10 days. I said, "I can come up with it 10 days." So me and my wife flew out there. We rented a car, landed at O'Hare Airport, drove downtown, and this was November 3rd, 1986. And she waited in the car almost those 2 hours while I was in there. And when I left, he made that proposition to me. "We want you to finish this book." And at that time, I was working on What Makes the Great Great. And I said I couldn't. And he said, "Why not?" And I said, "I'm working on a book of my own." And he said, "If you got any sense, you'll push your book aside and finish this." And then so I went out and I said, "Okay, okay." And my wife just, "Oh man, what did he say? What did he say?" And I threw my briefcase in the back. And I had an attitude, and I said, "What did he say? It didn't go well?" I said, "It went all right." "Man, what did he say?" And I said, "Man, he wants me to write this book." He said, "Well, didn't you tell him that you're already writing?" I said, "Yeah, he didn't want to hear it and blah, blah, blah. Let's go get something to eat." And so, Brandy, almost 3 months went by. I'm at home. I'm still working on my book. And my wife came down to my study, and she says, "When are you going to start working on that other book?" And I said, "Pat, I'm not feeling it." He said, "Well, those folks back in Chicago think that you're working on this book. You need to tell them something. You need to tell them one way or another." I said, "Okay, okay." So I wrote about 90 pages, overnighted it, sent it to the Napoleon Hill Foundation.